Good evening, everybody, and welcome to this quarterfinal match between Team Germany and Team Saudi Arabia. And with you to talk you Denmark. Sorry, I'm being told that I goofed in a big way. It is, of course, Denmark. Germany was our last game. I'm just hung up on that. And here to talk you through the action now that I've got the correct team name in place is a casting duo once described as Abe Lincoln and an Easter Island head. It's me, Big Hungry Phil, and Bemmy. How's it going, Bemmy?
4 scores and 7 years ago is when we casted, Phil, and now we're
Oh.
going to be casting again.
I thought I was Abe Lincoln.
Oh,
Does that mean I've got a big face?
no,
Oh, man.
no, Phil. Oh, God. You're beautiful as you are.
Thank you. Very kind.
You know what's also beautiful? The series we're about to watch. It's going to
Definitely.
be
Nice segue.
a heck of a matchup. We got Saudi Arabia with Denmark. Like you said earlier, it's pretty much going to be, Saudi Arabia has been showing some amazing plays with their DPSs, and I've been really excited to see how that's going to be executed just in such a dynamic way. But they have such a task ahead of them that Mano said earlier, which is that, Denmark is either the best or one of the best teams that we have in the Eurocup, because quite literally it's just contenders in Overwatch League put together in one team and then just going full force. Like, Denmark is not holding back any punches whatsoever.
No, it's weird. Like, looking back through the analysis that I've seen so far, and the Game House did a very good retrospective on like where we place the different teams in terms of power ranking, and I can't remember Denmark being placed that high up in the rankings. But from what we've seen so far in this competition, Denmark are really scary.
They are scary, but I think that scariness doesn't come from being the team itself. I think that comes from the individualistic talent. So I think really what we're seeing here is going to be good synergy. Saudi has, just to get a little cultural with you, Saudi actually has a really good esports kind of scene that's also been blossoming. Like, they also just they've been growing and building boot camps and doing a bunch of different things. Like, recently, there was 2 Saudi players from Evo that won fighting game majors, and it was really amazing. Like, they have been like popping off lately. So I'm really not expecting any less from this team. I think there's synergy and working together. I think they have a level of understanding of like what their job is and what their role needs to be. So I'm expecting that to come from Saudi when I see that. So I think really here's the big battle. The big battle here overall, Phil, is going to be either individualistic talent coming in from Denmark with some coordination as to general shot calling and textbook callouts versus synergy and a scary team that can work together but maybe needs to pull their weight a little bit just more.
I mean, having just loaded the teams into the game, so I can now see them getting ready and looking at the talent on Denmark. And I have to admit, I'd maybe not been as familiar with who they were running as before. That is a very scary lineup. But having seen Saudi run this lineup up against Kuwait yesterday and how well they were able to make that work, I think you're right to say it's really not going to be that easy a job for either team to get an advantage. Is going to be very, very close. This might be, I don't think I've cast a game so far in this tournament that hasn't just gone for those 3 maps and done. I can see this going the distance. I can see this going to the full 5 maps easily.
Dare I say even a 6 map if needed.
Get a draw.
Just I could imagine that easily with like something along with the 2 CP or even the escort maps. I think the control point maps are going to be a little more favored for Denmark, but I feel like overall just kind of more coordinated focused maps as opposed to being more openly aggressive. I feel like, with control point maps, I feel like there's more for aggression and just making sure you go in diving as a team and calling your shots. So there's a little less needed to be coordinated as opposed to when you're going for the payload. You have different moments when you're in street phase, you're stationary. If you're in the hybrid, you're going, for high ground, you're going for flanks. There's a lot of coordination that needed. And I think that's where we're going to see Saudi pop off a little bit more with just like hybrid and escort maps. But I think control points, it's either game, but I think definitely Denmark has this little bit of an upper hand, starting off with Ilios as we're about to get into. And choosing ruins as well. Well, not choosing ruins, but getting ruins.
Having ruins inflicted upon us.
Yes, as that would be probably the right adjective and verb to use for this. But either way, it's going to be very interesting to see. Especially, I do want to see how we're going to see Boostio specifically pop off here. As this is a very Lucio still friendly map. As a Lucio main myself, I actually still enjoy Ruins just because the pit and the AoE is a lot more easier to get
Yeah.
off of. So I think this is something that we got to pay attention to if they choose to do this.
Yeah, so at the minute, looking at what we've got favoring the hero picks at the minute, I have a lot more faith that Denmark have picked what they're actually going to be running out on. There we go. I was going to say what KSA are running. I don't buy just yet, but the fact
Right.
that we're seeing, yeah, there we go. That's what we were looking for.
Yes, the double shields.
Yeah, we have actually got Simple FNK was running the hit scan yesterday against QA, actually getting some value out of it on Ruins. Although, yeah, I was able to get a body shot there into Shax, but once the shields are up, it becomes increasingly difficult for FNK to actually get any value out of that. So we've got Kazar plays here on the Mei, looking for a target, but again, problems with shielding mean you're not going to get much through. Nice wall out there, stop the follow-through on the whole. That's really what you want those walls for, is to interrupt those combos. FNK still looking for angles. Might have found a Doomfist. Shax is the first to go. KSA on the Sigma getting that. But very quickly, the follow-up coming in from Fisher. And yeah, Fisher on a bit of a tear on the Doomfist. Finds two, goes toe-to-toe with Simple FNK on the Widowmaker. And that is going to be Denmark taking first control of the point.
Yeah, really strong stuff from Denmark right there. They had probably the right DPS for the job. Just be able to break shields, bother the backline as well, and looked really just powerful overall. I mean, Simple, while a great DPS, like you said earlier, nice tag. It's not going to really do the job quite yet.
Yeah, that was very close to getting a couple of nice headshots in there. Sadly, just missed by a handful of pixels. So coming into this next fight, Ryan Chu is going to have the Coalescence very shortly, and that is very useful for getting a round of that shielding. But Simple FNK has opened the door for the rest of KSA to get in. Fisher gets taken out by the Doomfist, unfortunately, and Boostio coming in second in that exchange. Beautiful ult out from Fisher. So it looked like an open door, sadly slammed right back into the face of Saudi, as the Danish team continue to push them right back into spawn. Shax may be looking for another couple of kills on the way out. Still not got his ult there. Shax struggling to find value with this pick.
Yeah, a little bit concerned also with which is how, like, Saudi, while I'm glad they're holding on to their ultimates, it seems like they're maybe a little too passive with them, and they're denying a lot of value, more so for Saudi than it would be for Denmark. Shax is still doing fine breaking shields.
Yeah, Naga's doing such a good job here of denying space. Oh, the Gravitic Flux, and the counter Gravitic Flux into the sound barrier. A lot of body damage done there by that Gravitic Flux, and we're seeing a 2-for-2 trade, and Naga and KSA actually sort of turned away from each other there, but it is Naga going to be finding the kill there with that accretion, taking Kazar plays out of the fight. And as we hit 84% of the point capped, this is where we need to see something change for KSA, because at the minute they've got 0% captured.
They need more shield break, Phil. They just have a lot of protection. They don't have really any way to pierce the shields, and this is going to be a big problem. So let's see how they do with maybe a Coalescence in hand very soon.
Yeah, well, Simple FNK able to open the door once more, but they just couldn't touch the point. That's a shame, because they looked like they just about had that ready to go. And yeah, unfortunately, just not quite quick enough on that point. But that was looking a little bit one-sided for a lot of that.
It was looking very one-sided. Like I said earlier, this I feel like was going to be a more Denmark-favored match, just because you can be aggressive and it's just about pushing that team back to spawn. So now I want to see how this works out for, you know, Saudi. I don't think the hit scan is going to work out. They might switch on over to something else. They're maybe trying to predict the pharmacy, potentially. Double shield still works. They just need more shield break is all I'm going to say, Phil. I think if they can start getting their shield break, or, you know, they're already addressing the Doomfist with this McCree pick, so this is already a great start. Yeah,
and of course they're addressing the shield break by sending Kazar plays in on the Hanzo as well, due to the projectile nature of his ammo. It means that he can actually do a lot to break down some of these shields without getting too close to taking damage themselves. Simple FNK now on the flag. Has seen, not quite good enough with the flashbang. Fisher's going to get the better of that exchange, and that is 5v6 already. Fisher on a tear. Kellick's getting in on the action, and now Naga very nearly landing in the pit there, and Boostio finds two, finds three even. But it's not going to be enough, because there is just going to be that one player left. It was a heck of a play, and it got Boostio a long way to that, 60% nearly to that sound barrier. It's a great play, just slightly mistimed maybe.
If it came earlier, that would have been great. But hey, I guess a kill is a kill. This does allow them to get a lot more set up on the point and kind of reset the battle altogether, Phil.
Yeah, you saw Scalar there having to tag in just to keep that contest going. And they've actually opted just to abandon it and go for the full reposition. Naga was looking for Xar Plays, but Xar Plays is able to reposition. Sailor with the Coalescence now, beaming down some of these targets. Naga's able to get a kill on the back of it. Not quite able to get them yet. There we go. Eventually finds the kill. Sometimes DPS Moira is the right Moira. Fisher nearly fell into the pit, just opting to right punch that click, that wall even. Luckily, had some abilities to get out of the way of.
Well, resource management is what makes a great Doomfist, so obviously that was really nice. On top of that, also, just a lot of disruption coming in from Fisher. Simple has not been able to find the flashbang kills that we're expecting the McRight Click to do to just address this Doomfist. They've been taking some, like, notes out of DM's book. They're already ready to take Crass.
Oh, well, that's going to be... big Meteor Strike. The follow-up with that punch taking FNK down. Naga's going to get Ryan Chu. Ryan Chu was trying to use that ult to keep people alive, but unfortunately, that's burst damage out from Meteor Strike, and if it does enough, that's it. Not a lot you can do.
Yeah, not a lot you can do, and there's not a lot Saudi can do right now. Shaxx is in a really good position to maybe flank and get the Death Blossom. Definitely finding a lot more value here. Denmark looking very strong at the moment. On top of that, they also have Naga with the Flux, so they could actually Flux Blossom, which is a very effective combo.
Yeah, well, there's the Gravitic Flux. Death Blossom, like some sort of horrible Venus flytrap waiting for them to land in its petals. Shaxx with the 4K. Simple did use his hiding there, only found one, wasn't the target they were looking for. 85%, no ults. Actually, we're about to get the Supercharger and the Gravitic Flux, but they've got to be so quick to make this work.
Well, another thing is they have no follow-up ults, so there's no real way of getting full value. It's not like an Earthshatter where everybody's on the ground.
Yeah, well, that's one down already. Simple FNK losing the Doomfist fight. Henningsen losing the Orisa fight. And that's going to be another Gravitic Flux out from KSA. Taken down in the middle of it by Naga. Not looking good for Saudi Arabia here. Got Boostio looking to tag back in to keep this alive. Can he keep this up is the question. The longer this goes on, the rock, the accretion in, has bought a bit of time for his team to get in. Boostio now looking to play everyone's favorite ladder strat. I'm trying to get the Brutes into the pit, but this is looking increasingly less hopeful for Saudi as we see the final player taken off the point and see. That's going to be Denmark taking us to 1-0 in the series.
Really strong stuff from Denmark. A lot of the time, there's that individualistic plays I was talking about showing up. Fisher specifically as well. Boostio, of course, getting to play the game because you cannot deny environmental kills. But all in all, wait, hold on, I want to see this real quick. Yeah. Oh, wow, they actually got this? Wow, that's beautiful.
Wow, very
yeah, but like I said, individualistic plays were coming in. I didn't see them really push in together too much. Yeah, they were pushing in the same direction, but there's a difference. There's different synergy. There's a different energy to it. And on top of that, the only time when they really worked together was when they had all combos to go off of. But they were able to do it on time, and it was impeccable timing at that.
Oh yeah.
So, like I said, very simple. You know, the Koth maps that we have are just pretty much just these very aggressive play styles of just bullying back to spawn. So that's really where Denmark was able to just show their strength because they didn't have to worry about pushing a payload or anything. So again, when we go into assault map, maybe Saudi's going to show a lot more power, but really strong start for Denmark.
Yeah, absolutely is. Hopefully when we see a little bit more of the, let's call them strategic maps as we move into the next maps in our pool, we get a bit more chance to see Saudi Arabia shine because I felt like they were constantly on the back foot in that fight.
On top of that, their DPS choices were not very optimal. The Widowmaker, while a classic choice on runes, this day and age in the meta is just not worth it because of the double shield, and especially with the fact that you can literally place your shield in midair with Sigma is not going to allow you a lot of options to get those picked. We saw a great bunch of tags and even a great opening with getting the Orisa, but there's still not enough damage. You have Fisher getting, backline kill after backline kill, and then Shaxx pushing in with enough damage. It may not have been showing up on the kill feed, but that AoE was there, Phil.
Yeah. I kind of feel that the swap that Simple FNK made in the second one of those maps coming out on McCree was actually something they should have swapped to a lot sooner to just
I
try
agree.
and punish Fisher coming in on the Doomfist, because, you know, if you're going to dive in as the Doomfist, flashbang to the face really interrupts that momentum.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
Well, you know, past. Like I couldn't have said it better myself, Phil. Like, you know, sometimes the value of an ultimate is not really worth keeping, and you may as well switch it just to use the abilities that another hero has. But
Yeah.
you know, the past is the past. We are moving into an escort map, and this is where I really feel like Saudi's going to shine. They choosing defense. Denmark feel like they're going to full hold on this. They have really good confidence that they're going to be able to utilize big Earls here, especially with what they have going on. Still the same comp. It's still effective. We're going to still see a hold on big Earls, but Shax is probably going to be joining Fisher in the flanking game for this one, as we're going to see them probably just pop off a lot in the back unless they feel like they really need to put pressure on the shields. I feel like flanking around is enough to just cause a lot of distress for Saudi Arabia to just be able to get through. And I'm really hoping we're going to see a lot more damage dealing with these picks. I do like the idea of the Mei Hanzo. I don't think it's a terrible idea as long as they manage to hold on to their backline and keep their supports alive.
Yeah, well, that's going to be an aggressive hold coming out from Denmark to kick things off, playing right up among the train carts. Rotation coming through from Saudi Arabia as they go up onto the high ground. The interrupt, good from Fisher, doesn't secure a kill.
Oh, there you go.
In fact, the only kill that comes out of it is going to be onto Fisher themselves. Now, KSA enabling the rest of the team to take up this defensive position. That's going to be Denmark really on the back foot, caught out heavily by the Saudi Arabian reposition. They need to take advantage here, though, because Fisher will be back very, very quickly. Ryan Chu getting now very close to the Coalescence, likely to open this team fight wide open, and they queued up right into the middle of it. KSA wrapping round again to the other side of the point. Beautiful Coalescence. Yeah, we lose Ryan Chu as part of it, but you know, the spawn's right there, guys. It's not that big a loss. They're going to be back nice and quick.
They could also get a free refill on their drink, so it's great. Yeah, I feel refreshed, and this is obviously what I was expecting to see from Saudi. Also, great distribution of DPS, or just damage in general, just to get that ult charge about halfway. They do have to deal with Scalers, Coalescence now, and they're only just getting to the corner of Big Earls, but if they watch that high ground, they're pretty much good to go, Phil, for another good push.
Yeah, and Ryan Chu is already getting very... Oh, beautiful wall out from Kazar Place. Denies a huge amount of damage out of that Coalescence. Gravitic Flux now from Naga. Frozen in the middle of it. Shax is going to find the opening kill. Headington getting rid of KSA as well. Fisher with the ultimate on board, ready to go, looking for a target. Finds the loose on the high ground, on a tear. Finds Ryan Chu at the end. Good grief, can nothing stop this guy?
I guess not even a May. They really just don't leave. They just leave Fisher to their own devices. It's kind of sad to see in some ways. So they don't really have an answer. They might even just have to switch to DPS, like double stun DPS, just to be able to stop this Doomfist from getting any value. They need to force the switch off of Fisher if they're having this much trouble, apart from the other team.
Yeah, well, luckily, a couple of big, impactful ult combos coming up. We've got the Gravitic Flux, there's a Blizzard, there's Death Blossom. We've seen how powerful that can be. They just need to make sure they land in the right place. Now, Saudi Arabia taking possession of the carts. That's the amplification regime. Well, gravitational flux down and out. The sound barrier out is pretty big, but it's not going to be enough to keep him through. Shax gets one at the end of that fight. It's not going to be enough, as Saudi Arabia have managed to blast their way through that, but it cost them 2 ults to win that fight. They're coming out of this with the Death Blossom. Is that going to be enough for a recontest?
Well, Coalescence is really the only answer from Denmark, so theoretically, if Simple can get a good flank, that could be enough damage to just get something in the backline, even throw Ryan Chu off and throw off the direction. As long as they don't get thrown off again. Saudi, nice wall. Yeah,
opening up with the Coalescence out from Scalar. Finds a couple of targets up on the high ground. Hasn't managed to get a kill yet, but what it has done is force them to give up a huge amount of space. KSA is going to take Shax out of the fight. Fisher now on the defensive position on the cart, looking to reposition to get a bit of an angle to get that Meteor Slam in. Big rock out from Naga, gets a lot of damage in. We'll have another Gravitic Flux, going to lift them off the point. Sound barrier from Boostia, beautifully well timed. And in the meantime, KSA is going to find 2 kills. Simple F&K with the follow-up there. Shax closing in on some tanky looking targets, but gets collapsed on gets deleted, and that is going to be KSA right into that payload right away to the end of point A.
Scrappy fight, but when you get the payload to the point, you get that payload to the point. Yeah, you take what you can get. We take those, as we say in the industry. Yeah. So, honestly, that was really good at them, really denying a lot of value for Scalar with this Coalescence, producing a lot of damage. Simple staying with their tanks to be able to push the front line was really good. Not worried about getting the flank as I was thinking about earlier. And this is really great for them. They have the ult advantage technically coming in right now. Great ult!
Yeah, that's a Coalescence out once more from Ryan Chu. Doesn't render properly in this particular spectator view, but Simple FNK is able to find Fisher as part of that. The answering Coalescence out from Scalar. Gravitic Flux once more for KSA. Building these very, very quickly. Might not even need it here because Shax is down, Henningsen is down, Naga is down. It's just Saudi left on the payload and a pesky Moria, but Scalar's gone now, so you can keep riding this payload, guys.
Yeah, keep on going. There's not a lot of time in the time bank, so you got to be careful. However, these fights have been ending really early, so they've been able to keep kind of toe-to-toe with Denmark's ult economy and have a little bit of advantage still ready to go. Fisher does have the Meteor Strike, but now in a wide open area like Street Faces, it might not find the value that it originally had. So let's see how they deal with this.
Yeah, Shax with the drop down is going to find Beckenbauer trapped. Couldn't quite get out. Whoa, no, Beckenbauer escaped. How did that even happen? That's amazing. Naga, though, now on a bit of a tear. Shax will have the Death Blossom. Might not need it here as they get round about. With a bit of help there from Fisher, taking KSA down. Denmark looking large and in charge this time around.
Didn't need to drop any ultimates, but I think, honestly, they were okay not using ultimates in that fight. Saudi was caught off guard a little bit, and now we're going to see them pushing him once again, but with really just the advantage right now. They might start with the Coalescence or just a Blizzard with the Supercharger going into it just to push through. It's going to be another expensive push, I feel, but they want to get that second point.
Yeah, well, that's going to be the sound barrier into the Gravitic Flux, and that's going to be another Death Blossom out from Shax. Doesn't find anything, though, and in the meantime, KSA able to raid in the damage. Simple FNK looking for targets once more, finds something beefy to aim those shotguns at. Doesn't even need to use the Death Blossom. They did use pretty much everything else, but we might get a last-second recon test, but it is looking pretty good now.
I just want to point out, this is the exact same situation that we saw in point A, where Scalar had the Coalescence. Simple Think had the Death Blossom, but didn't go for the flank. And
doesn't need it.
Well, there are no contests. All right, cool. So this allows them to hold on to these ultimates, and now Simple, they're going to be holding on to this like a wine bottle, let it age a little bit, find a good opening while they're on the conveyor belts.
Naga looking for targets, assumes there might be somebody coming up on the flank on the left-hand side. Nobody found there just yet. Scalar still with the Coalescence. Can answer some aggression if it starts to come in. It's going to be Reaper coming up against Naga in that fight. Doesn't find anything. Fisher into the back line once more. Went fishing for fist targets. Not able to find anything there either. Yeah. Fisher very close to the ultimate once more. Needs one good exchange and we'll probably have that ult ready to go. Kellett on the Lucio. Doesn't quite have the sound barrier. Gets it just in time. Wow, that was millisecond stuff there. Fisher getting Ryan Chu out of the fight. Has the Meteor Strike. Doesn't find anything with it. Gets out of dodge. Right back in again. FNK down 2. One more punch goes through the dropping body of Beckenbauer, and already 30% of the way up to another ult for Fisher. Less than a minute now for Saudi Arabia. Is this where we see this finally stall out, Bemi?
I do think so. Supercharger ready to go. You have also Scalar with their Coalescence ready once again. The ult charge is just producing a lot. However, Kassar does have potentially the Blizzard coming up very soon. If they can manage to get a good AoE going on around that elbow, they can push it just a little bit further. Final point, don't know about it, but they can maybe get a little bit extra meters on it.
Yeah, well, they need a nice aggressive push coming out from Kassar players. Not going to get the chances. Naga gets the better of it. No chance of getting that Blizzard online now. And Scalar once more with the Coalescence, with a bit of help from the hold, is going to get rid of KSA. Boostio goes down. Shax with the kill onto Ryan Chu. The timer ticks down, and that is it for the offensive run for Saudi. Now we get to see how Denmark play the game.
Denmark is going to basically be a very strong force when they're on attack, but they do have to be a little bit mindful during a little bit more of the open map phases. We saw Street phase, they got caught off guard a lot of the time as they kept going in aggressively, but it was almost felt like a stagger in a way, just because they were kind of going in 2 by 2, 1 by 1, and they were kind of a little all over the place. They were just like, first enemy you see, go for the jugular. And it's just like that. You can't really go with that play on an escort map like Route 66, especially with the fact that you have such a wide open area. And it's kind of good to stay with the team, especially if you want to get that healing. Or if you're running that healing, you want to run more ranged healing like, Zenyatta or something like that, where teams can go aggressively and on their own, but they at least are in range of a healer. So, the fact that they had the Lucio for the flux was great. So they had that sound barrier ready to go, but a lot of the times they were kind of spread apart. However, again, when Saudi went in on attack, Fisher was able to get the best of them as well. They need to watch their sixes a lot of the time. So really, I think what comes down to this is that can Denmark coordinate enough that they won't get caught off in the wide open areas of this part of the map in Route 66 and then Streets phase? Because once they get through those, then you're in the warehouse, and the warehouse is not as bad for Denmark because it's very straightforward, it's very narrow like King's Row. And then I'm wondering how Saudi's going to mine their six, because they need to make sure that they keep their supports alive, because they were able to do a lot of stuff with Ryan Chu on Coalescence.
Yeah, they really were, Benny, but we've got another aggressive hold coming out from Saudi, more or less where we saw Denmark hold on their first attack run here. And we're not seeing the rotation up through the stairs that we saw Saudi use, and they have already lost one in this fight. Again, it's not too big a problem. Very early on in the fight, respawns very much in their favor. Fisher on the flank, always dangerous if you're anybody but Fisher. Who's he going to go for? I think maybe looking for a nice, tasty healer there. Shaq for the reposition with the teleport, with the shadow step, as it were. That's going to be the initiation coming out with a halt, draining people up into the air. Bring them into range of Shax, who's going to press up a little ways. Not finding the kill. Yeah, Fisher getting punished for once. That's nice to see. Henningsen down as well. Looking like Saudi. And a pretty good hold here.
Well, they are certainly shaving time. Oh my God! Oh, they were certainly shaving time off the time bank. And look at this. The ults are really much good. This is something that they're using to watch their back. It's disengaging. They're not afraid to give a little bit of room if it allows them to regroup and stay together. And then it allows the AoE healing to still work in fruition. Look at Ryan Chu. They have the Coalescence. Might drop it now.
Yeah, back down it goes, and immediately looking to try and counter this Pharah, who obviously can play out of the range of a lot of the damage that's coming in. And it did look for a second there like Ryan Chu was trying to use that Coalescence to lift themselves up into the air. Here's Scalers answering Coalescence, slightly slower on the gen. And that's going to be a big old freeze coming out from Starplay. Scaler and Naka go down. Starplay's getting a couple of icicles into the face of the Pharah. And with a bit of help there from a couple of the teammates, that's going to be Shax on the Pharah. Down and grounded. No flights for you, my boy.
Absolutely not. Well, I mean, if you don't have any hit scan, may as well just kill the rest of the team, so that way Pharmacy has no value, right? I mean, that's one healer gone. That's turning into a 4v6. May as well. I mean, they get a lot of tags and good follow-up. They're using this high ground to their advantage very well. And Saudi, look how much time they shave off the time bank.
Man, this is huge. Naga has got the opener there. That's going to be a Gravitic Flux down and out. Fisher with the double. Really going to open things. A triple even. Brucio still, well, I was just going to say, Brucio is still alive and on point, and the second I say it, he gets a rocket right into the dome. So it took them a long old time to do that, but Denmark have finally broken this hold, and Shax is going to be pushing right up. Oh! Going to take out Ryan Chu as well. Great use of aggression. Will have the barrage here as well, and without that main healer on board, Shax getting a little greedy maybe. Takes a bit of damage, dodges the rock.
Oh, that's so close.
Still playing up around, still has the barrage, and in the meantime, Saudi can't afford to aggress into all this damage.
Well, they're gonna try.
Yeah, well, Coalescence a pretty good tool to get rid of Pharah. Kellex down to Kazar plays. It's gonna be an icicle to the dome with a Mercy. Less than a minute now for Denmark, and it's not looking great for them. Shax desperately looking for an opportunity to use this barrage. Oh, 2 out from Simple Evan. K. Ryan Chu with the follow-up. Boy, Denmark are not looking anywhere near as strong as they were earlier today.
Oh my gosh, that was so good! Getting the initial pick onto Kelix was huge as well. The denial of healing the Pharah. Shax couldn't be as aggressive as they were, so they punished where the aggression was. Fisher's not going to be able to find the errors because Cesar's now focused on it. Simple switching over to the McCree. There's no answer for Fisher. The Meteor Strike has to be huge here if they want to even finish this. I don't even think the Blossom will be enough because Kazan could just shield it with the Sigma.
Well, that's the Gravitic Flux out as well. Beautiful combo there with the grabber as well. Managing to get one, and P getting both of the DPS, both of whom have a lot of CC ability, is a huge opening for Denmark here. And if they can clear out these final few players, they might be in a position to roll this right the way around. KSA goes down 2. They've just got to deal with any of the recontests coming in. They've got no ults to do any of that.
I don't think they're going to let it recontest. I think they're just going to regroup and reset.
Yeah, looking at the silhouettes out there, they realize that at this point they'll just be feeding charge over to Denmark. So we actually saw both teams cap that in OT. So this is Denmark on a level pegging so far.
Actually, Saudi managed to do it within 30 seconds.
I'm thinking of the second point. My bad.
No problem, no problem. Yes, they did do that in OT, but overall, really good stuff coming in from Saudi. Just shaved off a lot of time with the time pick. And this is Streets Faith. This is going to be Denmark's hardest point to capture. So this is where Saudi could really close the map and make it 1-for-1. We just got to see them take advantage of this high ground like they're doing right now with Simple.
Yeah, and Shax has now moved off the Pharah, back onto the Reaper now, a little bit less easy to punish, and that's going to be Shax down straight away. Ryan Chu getting 2 with the Coalesce. Gravitic Flux out from Tsar as well. That's 1, sorry, out from Naga. Naga getting 1 with that as Bustio's down and out, but it looks like Saudi Arabia are definitely the ones coming out on top of this fight. They lose a couple on the back end. Hopefully the respawn is quick enough for them to get back in for a full complement in this next fight.
Fortunately, one of them was the Boostio, so they are going to be fine to be able to regroup and recontest. And also on top of that, ult advantage is really looking really awesome. I love it. Coalescence and Blossom were the only ones used, and look at that. Ryan 2 is at 47%. Fisher needs to, again, get a huge ult with this Meteor Strike.
Yeah, well, Tsar plays once more with the Blizzard. It goes in under the Gravitic Flux. It's going to freeze up a couple. That's going to be Henningsen down and out. Kelix doesn't have the sound barrier on live to protect anybody. Beacon Bauer getting 2 as well. Tsar looking for those final few picks is going to help take out Fisher. Less than a minute and a long way for this payload to go, even to cap point 2.
This is going to be really difficult for Denmark, especially with the fact there's almost no ultimates ready. They do have Sound Barrier and Coalescence coming in soon, but there's really no full offensive ults ready in the wings. Maybe Shax could get a Blossom if they do a great job, but there's already a Supercharger and Coalescence coming out right now from Saudi.
Well, in fact, that's going to be a match in terms of ultimates, but Xara and Ryanchu were able to get a quick double there, taking rid of the Supercharger and getting rid of Shax. The Sound Barrier now out from Kelix. They are throwing everything at this fight. So far, they've only found the Supercharger with that. There is going to be a Reaper in the back line. 10 seconds left to go. You're absolutely right, Bemi. And Denmark doing everything they can to stall this out. Looks like they may have the momentary advantage. We're seeing Saudi reposition here. They get grabbed in, but the shield position too good there for any follow-up to really happen. There's going to be another Gravitic Flux enlisted off the payload. Crucially, it doesn't get Kelix, who is able to tag back in and keep that alive. The Blizzard over the payload. Kelix tagging back in to keep this alive. Not going to survive it. And that's Fisher down. And just for added fireworks to the end, we're going to get a Death Blossom. We're at 1-1 to Saudi and Denmark.
Oh my goodness, Phil, I can't tell you the grin on my face is larger than can ever be. This is a series I was looking forward to since day one, and this is great. This was beautiful to see. I love the adjusting of playstyle. Didn't so much switch up the DPS, they stuck with what they knew, but they switched up the playstyle, disengaging to let that back line be a little bit more cushioned with supports and tanks and shielding and healing, and didn't really get Fisher the best they could get out of their Meteor Strike. So basically denying values of ults just by simply backing up. It's okay to give a little bit of space if you are able to stick together as a team and then push in aggressively. And basically at that point, then the enemy team is feeding, and then you're going to have the ult advantage if you've been cycling ults as well as Saudi has. So Denmark, like I said, was going to get caught off guard in tactical sort of maps like this with Escort, where you kind of need to hug the payload. You can't fully push everything in. And then on top of that, they also were in wide open areas. So Denmark was just kind of a little bit strewn about. Yes, they were finding kills one way or the other, but sometimes those kills weren't able to be followed up on. So it's 1-1. Saudi looked great. Denmark looked great as usual as well, but this was really amazing to see.
Yeah, it has been really, really fantastic to watch. And one of the things that I like about this particular matchup is this entire region, the Middle East, as we might call it in the West, is a gold mine of untapped potential. You know, when you look at the representation that there is,
it really is
out there in contenders and Overwatch, you know, there are only a handful of players that really spring to mind. Obviously, you've got KSA currently playing for Saudi, who was in a variety of contenders teams this season, and there really isn't that much more on top of that, is there?
There is Awkward from Team Israel from Triumph Gaming.
Oh, of course, yeah, I'd forgotten about Triumph.
Yeah, they're a really strong contenders team in NA, and they have Awkward, and Awkward's are, like, I would say, one of the best tier 2 Israeli players, if not also just good in general. So, you know, moving on, speaking of the Middle East, we are going to head over to the Temple of Anubis, which I'm really excited to see about, which is honestly nowadays with this meta can get very exciting with the variety of switch ups that we see here. This has become the 2CP map outside of Hanamura, where people started trying out different compositions. We do see pull pork sometimes with the Orisa Roadhog. Sometimes we just see the normal double shield on defense as well. Dive has been sometimes an option. However, people have been kind of getting denied that lately, but it's been an attempt once or twice.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's certainly a map where setting up this big, powerful EMP, nano boost, Dragon Blade combo, that style of dive is a thing that absolutely does work if you can pull it off, but it takes a long time to set up compared to just trying to brute force it through with the Gothical composition, that double shield and Reaper May combo that seems to be pretty much everywhere at the minute.
Yeah, absolutely. And here we go once again on attack. It looks like we are going to see Saudi just go straight to point with this double shield and use this as a way to just rush over. They don't want to waste any time right now.
No, absolutely not. Very aggressive push already. Maywar out is going to allow them to reposition. There is a bit of a freeze there coming in onto Fisher. Taken out by Simple FNK. Losing so much CC so early in the fight is really not a great look for them, because that's going to be Henningsen and Naga down in fairly short order. And at this point, this is just how much ult can Saudi Arabia get on the back of that team fight, and quite a lot looking at it, honestly.
Yeah, it was a really good dry push overall. Scalar able to you know, look really like a good hold. Scalar does have the Coalescence coming out soon. However, Denmark, you know, just kind of rushed over to that point. So now Saudi, you know, they have also Coalescence themselves, but the Blizzard's going to look good. And Simple has been popping off. They have such high ground advantage.
Yeah, that was a really interesting set of balls there. The flashbang out, not quite able to connect with it. Ryan Chu's going to have a Coalescence. And we've also got Simple FNK with the High Noon. And this is potential for a really good combo here. They're not even going to need it. Ryan Chu will have the Coalescence, doesn't need to use it now on the charge. Blocked out by the Maywar, has to reposition, uses that Moira Fade ability just to get out. Fisher not able to find anything out of that wall, trapped and unfortunately taken out of things.
Man, I thought Car Wash was on Gibraltar. That was, they just went through the choke, and there was just so much damage being sucked away as they went through that bridge. I just honestly got to say that they have been not producing enough threats on the side of Denmark to really contest these ultimates. So look at this ult economy. Watch how they're using it sparingly in this next fight, Phil. That's something to really pay attention towards, especially with the DPS ults.
Look, I just want to see Gravitic Flux High Noon combo. We're not going to get it. We get one on the back of it. KSA able to get one just with the damage of that Gravitic Flux on the back end. Not quite able to chase that May around the corner, but that is going to be May left on their own, cleaned up by Beckenbauer. That's a team kill now. Less than 2 minutes for Denmark. And really, they are about to come up on quite a lot of ults, but they still need to wait another 20 seconds, 30 seconds at least before they're all online. And then they've got to hope that's one good push and done. Otherwise, it's going to be a very difficult.
Yeah, it's going to be an uphill battle. I think, honestly, this is going to be an expensive push. It could be a team win for Denmark as just how strong they are as a team, but it is going to be expensive nonetheless.
Scalar with the Coalescence to open things up, manages to dodge the rock. Absolutely huge for the sound barrier now out is not going to be enough to save Beacon Barrel. Kazar plays will throw in the Blizzard. It slows things down, but it looks like Denmark have finally done enough to bring things through. That's going to be Fisher with the May Wall, getting them out and about. Ryan Chu, they knew they were dead. They went for a bounce. Just to say, okay, guys, we know we're done. Just put me out of my misery, please.
Yeah, let's forget this point never happened. Let's just move on to the next one. Wow, well done. Like, it wasn't as expensive as I was expecting, so now Denmark's going to try to ride this momentum.
That's the Gravitic Flux. We're going to see a Death Blossom underneath it. No, it doesn't quite come off. There's the Death Blossom. A lot of that eaten.
Wrong side, though.
Yeah, wow, Shax with a 4K3 on the back of the Death Blossom and the follow-up. Simple FNK, they just snowballed this point. Coming in, that's half, 2/3 captured. I can't even see the recontest coming in. That was such a push from Denmark.
That was sick. Oh my goodness. And Shaq's just kind of putting salt in the wounds there, getting the Doomfist down right before the transition. But really, that was such a great use of ult management. They had so much going for them looking into this situation that they had where they just used the Blizzard and they managed to get a lot of damage done, putting Saudi in the back corner and just kind of hoping that they had enough damage to put through, but they wouldn't. They didn't really have much going for them. I think all they had left was Marissa, or Moira, and then also, the Reaper. Both very good, all very good players, but they, it's 6v3. It's not very ideal. And then on top of that, when they were able to hold on to the rest of Ultimates, you can snowball with that, like you said. So really, ult management was very, very good. Like I said earlier, Saudi, I think, used a little too many ults in that second initial fight. We saw 4 ultimates going down to get that hold, and it shaved a lot of time off the time bank, but you saw that they had no real way or honest contesting power against Denmark to be able to do this. So now, here we go. Can Saudi get as big or close to a big enough time bank to basically make this next rounds or next batch of rounds going into Temple or Anubis worth it?
Well, that's the question. But one thing I want to touch on very briefly before we actually start this map is, do you remember when Coalescence was kind of a meh ultimate? Like, it does a little bit of healing, does a little bit of damage, great, whatever. And now it seems like so many of these team fights depend on how and when that Coalescence comes off. And this is cheeky from Fisher. That's a thing that we don't see that much at this level of play. The Junkrat trap around the back.
Are we solo queuing right now, or?
I think it might as well be.
Ooh! Did they get a tag onto Simple?
Yeah, looks like a bit of damage. It looks like a bit of tag onto Boostio, and certainly some damage in onto Beckenbauer. And actually, Shax has a lot of control of space here. Kazar seems to... Oh, right, we're going to think about slowing this a different way. Sending FNK in to get a little bit of data, maybe?
Oh, they're switching over to dive. They want the flanks.
Gets tagged out and gets caught. Ooh, just Transler getting out of the way of that. Beckenbauer coming around the top. He's going to tag into point and maybe draw a little bit of attention. Kazar plays now on the Genji, out of Mage Ale. And I like what we're seeing here from Naga, just bouncing those hypercubes around the corner. Wow, Shax, how did you even know Boostio was there?
Right.
Kelix will have the res online to bring Fisher back in, who does get tagged out by KSA. Looks like they might not have time to use it, as we see KSA get... Yeah, there we go. That's Fisher back into the fight. That's what I thought was going to happen. Shax on the low ground, going mano a mano against the enemy. A simple FNK. Not going to be able to get much done on the back of that. Fisher lobs it in from the back line, doesn't quite secure the kill. We're going to see Shax now with... Oh, going toe-to-toe with a Genji on the point, taken out by Simple FNK on the side. You've got to watch out, because whilst you are dueling somebody, there may or may not be a Sombra there to mess up your day.
Yeah, it could be, and you gotta be careful about that. I think their goal is to just go EMP, anti-nade, dive, get this win, dry push until you get all the ults you can, and hope the Nano Blade will be enough for point B. I think this is the plan going in right now.
Yeah, well, 2 on the point for now, but Simple FNK going down. Shax gives up a lot of space, backs up. One small bit, troubled by Kazar plays, but not troubled enough. Good grief! How did that even happen?
What?
Surely that character model was actually, like, behind the barrel of the gun. How did that even work?
I don't know. What? I'm at a loss for words like you, Phil. This is absolutely amazing. I mean, also right now, this dry push, it's getting really dangerous now because look at the ult economy for Denmark. They're pretty much ready and loaded. They have Fisher with his Riptire, and this will shut down a lot of things. Min 30, I'm starting to worry that they might need to use this Nano Blade just to get this point. I think they would really like to hold on to it for the next one. Maybe they can get, Becca Beacon to just get like a landmine, but they gotta really do a lot of damage right now.
You're absolutely right, Bemi. This dry push needs to get a lot moister, a lot quicker if they're going to crack this open, because they're getting close to the minute mark. They've got all the bits and pieces in place, but Simple FNK took a lot of damage, might not be in a position to do much with it. One down out of that Dragon Blade already. There's a second. Beckenbauer finding Scalar here. This might be where things start to tick over. Brian Shoot now doing their best to try and take down Calix, who does have the Valve ready to go. Place finding Shaz. Simple FNK knocked down by the rock. Will hold on to the EMP. And now the barrier coming out from Boostio as well. The minefield on the point. And it's just going to be Naga. Scalar left the point. Scalar is starting to get kills. Beckenbauer knows exactly where they are. Takes them out. Naga now has to do everything they can to keep this alive. And interestingly, KSA have just got away from the point. We saw the kill onto Boostio and the D-Mate. Beckenbauer gets one here. Simple FNK will have the EMP. Might not even need it here because Naga is looking very, very low, but they're doing such a good job of stalling this out. KSA will eventually get that kill onto Naga now, and that is where the point is going to start to tick up. They've got 10 seconds left to go on the clock, so they will have some time back coming into this, but they are already down on time compared to the offensive push that we saw from Denmark.
Yeah, but not going to be the end of the world. They maybe get to 2.5. I mean, I really hate the fact that was a little bit of a messy fight for Saudi, but really great job from Denmark to shape that time off the time bank. I think they're going to hold on to this EMP. If they could get EMP and bomb, that would be great. And also, Nano Blade is not too far away.
No, well, Xar plays going down means it's just a little bit further down the road than you would really like it. The hack coming through onto Naga is not going to be enough. Say wants to get out and preserve the mech for as long as possible. The last thing you want to do is be in a position where you're forced to give up the mech in order to give up the ult in order just to get that mech back. Heddington is able to get Beckenbauer on the end, and we're starting to see ults rack up a little bit here now for Denmark because they will have the Gravitic Flux and they've got the Supercharger.
Yeah, they have a lot of stuff going for them defensively on the side of Denmark, but I think honestly EMP bomb or just Nano Blade will be enough to shut this down. It just depends on what they want to execute.
Well, there's the bomb, the EMP over the top, nothing out of it. Fisher gets one of the Khazar plays, and then Ryan Chu. I think they weren't expecting Fisher to swap back over onto the Doomfist and do so much work in such a short space of time. That was a really efficient hold for Denmark and a really wasteful push for Saudi.
Yeah, it's, well, wasteful, yes, to an extent. I think they did not drop all their ults. I would have said that would be more wasteful because they have the Nano Blade ready. Boostio does have the Sound Barrier good to go as well. They just have to be careful of the Flux and also this Coalescence.
Yeah, there he goes. That's going to be one down from the Dragon Blade already. And in the meantime, it looks like there's going to be another dash reset onto Xarplays. And he's found a Reaper. Not quite able to do enough damage into Killabit with a bit of help from Boostio. They're taking them down. Shaq's down and out of the fight already. Scalar's going to be coming back in with that Coalescence, but taken out by a rock to the dome. Looks like we're going to see a bit of a contest coming out here. We've got Henningsen looking to do what they can to keep this fight alive a little bit longer. They get melted down. Shaq's coming back in on the Tracer to keep the fight going. They've got a minute left to go on the point. How much time can they burn off this? Well, that's going to be Kellex down, taken in by the grab, sliced down again by the Genji. Fisher knocked out the second they touch the point, but Denmark can afford just to keep tagging in here. They lose nothing by trying at this point. Naga gets D-Mech taken out immediately, but it's bought enough time for Henningsen to get back in onto the point. Slept, deleted. In comes Scalar once more on the Moira, and that's the Lucio in, taken out once more. Fisher had the ult. It wasn't enough. Still, 1 minute left to go on the clock for Saudi on the next push compared to nearly 4 for Denmark. So a great showing, but possibly not enough.
Yeah, really was very just a long and arduous fight right there for Saudi Arabia. Really great stuff from Denmark. Had such a great switch over to the stagger comp, and I think that's why they swapped over to the Doomfist as well, because they were counting at some point that they can only hold up against Saudi's ults for so long, so they wanted to at least have that plan B. And with the Doomfist already ready and ready to go, they could potentially have a Meteor Strike ready, and that would make it easier to contest. So overall, we're gonna go ahead and see this defense coming in from the side of Denmark once again. Really, at this point, the goal for Saudi is to get as far as you can, guys, because that is really, you just want at least a point and a tick to work with. At the very least, because that is pretty much 4 minutes. No sugarcoating it right now. Denmark looking very strong to take this map and bring it to match point, but we'll see what happens.
Yeah, it's a lot to ask. 1 minute to beat a 4-minute time back. Now, stranger things have happened. Absolutely stranger things have happened, but you need some exceptional play here to really make this work.
Yeah, and unfortunately, because Saudi needed ults to be able to get away with winning this first point, I worry that they might not be able to do it, but we'll see. I'm gonna hold high hopes. They're switching over to Orisa D.Va just to have a quicker contest time, but we'll see what they can do. Good ice wall.
Yeah, well, Xay's found a target, wasn't quite able to get the complete onto that, and in the meantime takes a huge amount of damage. Looks like they may have just managed to escape with that mech intact. Simple FNK now going for the reposition. Brustio down and out, and with 30 seconds left to go on the point, can't really afford to wait for Brustio to come back. Got to get in and reposition, and Fisher already has the Riptire.
Oh no.
Where is it gonna go? Oh, Kazarplay's found it. Great, beautiful tracking out of that guy, able to take that out. But Fisher aggressively in, throws down the trap as well. Gonna stop them getting too much value. So with the defense rate, oh, that's an absolutely huge anti-nade. That's gonna be the KSA mech down as well. Beckenbauer down to Henningsen. Simple FNK trying to pile some damage, maybe not quite able to find enough. Goes toe-to-toe with the sniper of Shax. Sadly, Henningsen there to offer a little bit of support. Brustio now trying to keep this point alive as long as they can. There's just too much damage. There are too many bodies on the point, and that is going to be a hold now for Denmark, who only need 1 tick in 4 minutes.
Yeah, and with this kind of situation presented to you, just kind of...
What do you do, Benny? What do you do? What's your strategy here?
Oh,
if you've got 4
Phil,
minutes to hold, what is your play?
Use the 4 minutes to think about what you're going to do in the next map. I'm going to be super honest. This is, Phil, this is pretty much... there's no way of dodging around the subject. You are going to get dry push until everybody has their ultimates if they don't win the fight, and then you are going to get destroyed, because honestly, unless you have a really fast charging comp, it's going to be really difficult. We do see not a lot of fast charging ults on the side of Saudi already on this defense, so this is a lot of shielding, a lot of protection, simple swapping over just in case of any flanks. But yeah, this is not looking good. I'm not saying it's impossible for Saudi, but this is it's hard.
Bemi, are we seeing a little bit of BM here coming out from Denmark? They know how much time they've got to play with, and so they can afford to do some sillier things. We're seeing
I don't like the idea of maybe they're BMing, but that could potentially be it. Or they just feel like we set up turrets and we just finished up this map. We don't want it for it to take too long.
Yeah, I mean, I guess part of the strategy here is you just spend as much time as you can avoiding some of that damage that's coming in.
Yeah.
It's a nice halt. Nothing really on the back of it, thanks to the
I mean, it's not too far. It's not too far-fetched to put a TP in the back line.
No. Oh, nice wall though. Displaces quite a lot of them. There we go. That's going to be the TP up there onto point already, and they can hide behind those shields and pile in the damage from Fisher. Going for the reposition, and of course with the turrets, the additional slow coming in there is going to make that very easy for them to get the kills. But Shax does go down as part of that. Naga not able to get the kill there with the rock. Again, frozen into the building. This might not have been as successful as we first thought it was going to be. Wow, that is a super quick gravitic flux. Kellex down. They hold on.
Are you kidding me?
That was amazing.
They also killed Scalar when they were coalescence.
Wow.
Like, that's the coalescence gone.
Yeah, that's crazy. I can't believe that just happened. And I'm amazed they're sticking with this. Shank's still looking to stick on the Symmetra now. Didn't even get a huge amount of charge onto the wall in that.
Well, I don't think you're really worried about the wall per se as you have double shield. I think you're more just trying to use that TV. I think they're going to try this again a couple of more times since they have time in the time bank just to do this. I mean, if they switch on over, it's not too much of a big switch. It's like maybe one DPS swap.
Yeah. Well, they're now on point. Similar FNK does have the high noon, though, and kind of uncontested. That's Fisher down. Out comes the freeze as well. Doesn't need the high noon. Man, this is already 2 minutes shaved off this whole time. They nearly got it. It's crazy. Yeah, how are they 70% of the way to the ult once more? And they've also almost got the turbocharger. We've nearly got the sound barrier as well. Yeah, we're starting to go on some stuff for Denmark, but it might not be enough here.
We'll wait and see. I'm still holding my breath. Again, it's dry push until you have a full stack of ults and then you go in.
Out comes the TP. The Coalescence now with the high note in the back. Needed that rock really in position. Scalar taken down in the middle of the Coalescence. Simple FNK finally going down. Another Gravitic Flux out. Naga takes a lot of damage in that exchange. Brustio able to get 2 on the back of that. 1 minute, 33 seconds left to go, and we've only got the wall and maybe a Gravitic Flux coming out in this next fight.
Hello there.
This has been crazy good. This has been such a good hold from Saudi. Even if they lose it here, the fact that they've locked 3 minutes off is honestly truly impressive.
Yeah, I'm at a loss for words here. The wall's gonna come in. I think that's pretty much gonna be it because there won't be enough for Simple to work out, but we'll see.
Yeah, well, TP out. There's the wall. Shaq's now able to play around this. And there's going to be another Gravitic Flux. Simple FNK took out 2 with 50 seconds left to go. What is happening to Denmark? What is happening to KSA, who have just suddenly ramped up their ability to get these combos in place?
And they have the Blizzard almost ready from Kassar. And the Coalescence is there. I think you just said that earlier. My apologies, but look at Kassar as well. They also have 50% weight to the Flux. If that's the rate they're doing, that's big. But the Supercharger and Coalescence may be coming in. Maybe the Death Blossom could be successful. Though I think there's enough stun that they're ready to do this.
Yeah.
Oh, they're the Rissa.
Yeah, and of course they've got the Blizzard ready to go as well. Fisher will have the Death Blossom here. Whether or not they can get into a position to actually make any value of it remains to be seen, because Saudi Arabia are doing such a job of playing these angles and stopping this aggression coming in. Out comes the turbocharger, the reposition out from Fisher, but the Blizzard in over the top of that aggressive position. The Death Blossom only finds Ryan G before KSA is big mission out of the fight. How have they done it? Scalar managing to find Simple FNK. Kassar Blaze goes down. Naga might just with enough here. Shax over on the Hanzo takes it out. It is just going to be Beckenbauer left alone on the point, and it looked like it was going to be the impossible hold, but KSA not quite able to bring it to bear as Denmark eke through a win. How in the heck did it take them 4 minutes to break that point? That was crazy. Looks like Bemi's lost for words here. I was expecting a follow through there, but Bemi taking a second there to pick their jaw off the floor.
Okay, well, that was really close. That was amazing. Really, honestly, that was, again, getting a little bit too aggressive, thinking that they had all of Denmark in the back of the wall, not really being aware of their backline where they kind of had the Mei. You saw the Mei pushing in. You kind of may have that backline. That's why the Icicles are there. If you really need to push in that DPS kill, then go for it. Otherwise, you would use that Mei to freeze in the back. So technically, Shax was able to at least get 1 Death Blossom kill in that Death Blossom, which was enough to kind of be the domino effect to keep everything going. So again, Saudi got to watch their 6 again. That's what happened because they were, I understand you're eager. It's the last 5 seconds. You've got a few kills in your back, but the fight's not over until it's over.
Yeah, absolutely right.
Oh my gosh.
I think that one of the things that really stood out for me there for Saudi was actually they seem to have a lot of discipline around how and when they were using their ults. There were moments there where if I was Simple FNK, I was like, oh, they're all down there. And I have my high noon. I could get a big 6k high noon here. And he held on to it because he knew that the remaining 5 members of the team had it covered and they didn't need it. And
they got to break the shield as well.
Exactly, yeah. Really, really astounding level of play out from Saudi there. Just, a 4 minute
It's
hold
not just
like
ult
that.
management. It's also self-awareness of what resources are being used by Denmark then and then. There and then. Because, you have to be aware that, hey, okay, so Mei used wall already, so this is our window of time. So somebody, the supports, which are usually the ones that are managing abilities because they're just focused on healing. They can focus on that as well. You got to give credit to Boostio and Ryan Chu. They must be shot calling the heck out of all these resources that have been used. Like they are managing all. This is literally they have literally clerks on their team. They are just accountants, just working away on banking holidays and everything. This is going to be big. So here we go. Denmark going to be on the defense here. However, this could be a very good just map overall as there is
nice rock.
Ooh, yeah.
Yeah, nice rock. Doesn't do any damage, but does stagger them out a little bit. You would have maybe liked to hit that outsider swan where you can actually deal some damage in. Going for the wraparound on the statue. Nice. Holt is going to get a couple of people into the line of fire. Kazabla is throwing in that endothermic blaster and hoping for the best. Ryan Chu, look at the rate of this ult charge. Looking up towards that hole as well, trying to get a little bit more damage in with the Moira. In the meantime, Fisher around the back looking to do a bit of damage at Distrip. Naga is able to get Ryan Chu here, and that's where we see the dominoes start to fall. Simple FNK, though, opens that right the way up, and with the respawn so heavily in your favor, and Naga taking a lot of damage there as well. Fisher out in the open, doesn't quite get dinked the way they might like, but Simple FNK already has that, gets Henningsen as well. What a crazy set of plays, and are they going to find the final dink onto Scaler? No, but did enough damage from KSA to get the play. Wow.
I think sorry if I'm screaming too much.
They weren't expecting Simple FNK to be on the Widow controlling so much space. And this is what happens when you underestimate your opponent. And that's exactly what happened here. Simple FNK able to just rein in the pain on the Widow. Oh, still doing it.
Yeah!
Still doing it. Man, they finally got an answer for Fisher.
Yeah, it's just let Simple have the highest high ground that is available within this map. And here we go, a lot of time in the time bank, but they're going aggressive for this choke. They want to get the stall.
Yeah, Xerf takes a lot of damage in that. Luckily, Boostio there with the sound barrier, able to help them get the kill onto Shax and start to force this through. Kelix up on the high ground, I assume, getting rid of Simple FNK. Xarplays throwing in the Blizzard now, going to do a lot of damage and a lot of free, managing to get rid of both the Supercharger and the rest of the team. And that's an ult that Fisher is going to want back because KSA are well and truly in charge of that fight. And Fisher punished for his hubris.
Fisher is... Yeah, this is... And this is a huge stagger as well, so now the ults are going to be a little bit wonky on the side of, you know, Denmark and now Saudi Arabia. They're going to be able to push in through. Simple is able to get this information. Now, pretty much the name of the game is just, can they win this point battle or not? And how much ults are Saudi going to be used? How much pressure can Denmark present to make Saudi lose this respectability of ults that they're using?
Well, out comes the Supercharger. It's going to help them break that. Sound barrier in over the top, and nothing coming out of that gravitic flux either, unfortunately. Denmark now with the aggression. Kelix and Fisher getting that 1-2 punch to knock the main tank and the sniper out. And this is all about chasing down those last few kills. KSA the last to go, and Denmark, for once, back in control of the points.
Back in control, but for how long, though, I wonder? Because the ultimates are... They're going to have information. The coalescence is going to be pretty good. I don't know if they have enough offensive ults, per se, to take this back, but we'll see what happens. They have a lot of time in the time bank to work with, Phil, so this could be something where maybe they get a nice crossfire or flank.
Simple FNK looking for those fancy pants trick shots, not quite able to get what they might have liked out of it. Ryan Chu with the coalescence that they have done so much work with already in this map. Doesn't need it just yet. Oh, that's going to be Boostio with the beautifully timed sound barrier, nullifying all of that out from Shax. And now Ryan Chu, the DPS Moira of our dreams, getting 2, and a lot of tag credit in there as well, as KSA are going to be running this right the way into point 2.
Point 2 with about roughly almost 4 minutes itself. This is going to look really good. Now KSA has the Flux with the Blizzard. That could be a huge combo in and of itself. I mean, Beacon almost has the Supercharger as well. And that, I think, honestly, there's just not really a lot of answers right now going on. With no Death Blossom, there's not enough AoE to just force Denmark to win.
If you time this gravitic flux, oh, Fisher doesn't have it. I thought they were going to wait for Fisher to get that Meteor Strike. I thought the two of those combined might be enough to do it here. Out comes the Meteor Strike, but Xyplaze has an answer in the form of the Blizzard. It's not going to be enough. That Blizzard seemed to work against them there, and Fisher was able to get 2 in that fight. Henningsen gonna once more help his team take control of the point, get the team kill, and gonna be coming out of that more or less with the supercharger ready to go, and Fisher getting back to his team ready to go again.
That was extremely out of character for Saudi. That was like a very ill-timed ultimate, and they don't even switch. So Simple now debating on what they want to do. They want to commit the Widowmaker to get the high ground to get over these shields, but there's not enough high ground on attack. You really want to switch back over to that Reaper. I think that would be a better choice at the moment.
Oh, KSA knocked out of the air by the Rock. Fisher taken out by Beckenbauer, so we see the Gravitative Flux was taken out there, nearly knocking the enemy into the pit there with the Rock. KSA coming a big fight in Shaq. Xyplaze in the back, slowing them folks down, making it that much easier to kill them. As we see them round the first corner, Kellex do their best to keep that alive. Sadly, not quite enough. Rounding the second corner now, not much further for Saudi Arabia to push this.
Not much further. However, they don't really have much ults either, so this is potentially another hole. They want to make good on time right now.
Yeah, Scalar once more with the Coalescence. With a bit of help there from the Supercharger, is going to find Xyplaze. Would ideally like a little more out of it than that. Has bought a huge amount of space. Nice rock out from Kisei, but counter rock even better. At the very least, they will be coming out of this with that Gravitic Flux ready to go. It looks like they have survived and got out of the way here. Shaq's closing in on that Reaper ult too.
And this is going to get a little bit worrying. 1 minute and 50 seconds left. It seems like a lot for a couple of pushes, but with the slow mobility of an Orisa Sigma, it actually only allows for 1 push with a good amount of ultimates in the back line. So we'll see how this works.
That's an early Gravitic Flux. Triggers the sound barrier out from Brustio. Simple FNK using that safety to find Kellex there. Absolutely huge set of picks. KSA with a kill out of the Gravitic Flux, and Saudi Arabia coming back strong. They're going back to the payload, now back onto that final straight, but they are going to be walking into the welcoming arms of a Death Blossom and a Coalescence. Very difficult to get past.
Maybe if they ice wall the right side.
Yeah, quite possibly. Not quite able to find any angle yet. Simple FNK out.
Whoa! Whoa! They stopped the Death Blossom!
That's crazy! The second shot
my God!
melted down and out of there. 1 minute 8 seconds left to go. That's just got to be actually quite a good push out from Denmark to manage the time as good as that. Shax has got to feel really bad about that, honestly. Just like Coalescence down out of your big fancy pants DPS ultimate.
Phil, help me.
Emmy, there are no words I can give you that are really going to help here. You've got to roll with the punches.
I wasn't expecting Simple to get
the lunacy. Accept the lunacy.
I accept it wholeheartedly, but I can't process it. There's a difference. Simple should not have been able to get that much value of a Widowmaker. They let them contest high ground way too much. They should have had Shax pressuring the Widowmaker. That was something that they left uncontested, and Shax was punished. That was ridiculous. They raised, like, on top of that, that was just a kick in the teeth after not contesting the Widowmaker. Like, look, I didn't see Shax once shadow step onto that high ground to fight the Widowmaker. They were able to disengage a lot of the time and get a lot of value. I mean, Kassar was able to also help a lot of the time with walling off the enemies. This aggression was punished, and it was punished hard by Saudi Arabia.
Yeah, I think it's kind of interesting that in this meta now where, previously one of the best ways to deal with a Widowmaker is you throw in a Diva or you throw in a Winston, you just go and pressure them out, maybe get the kill, great, bish bash bosh. You can't afford to give up the amount of shielding that this tank lineup gives you. And so, it actually becomes a lot harder for them to get that done.
Here we go. The Saudis running the same thing, and Fisher goes down again.
Oh, yeah, they're going to back out. They've got to start respecting Simple FNK because, oh boy, is he shaping these team fights right now.
You're telling me, Phil? Oh my gosh. And already right off the bat, they're kind of at a loss right here. Denmark, for the first time I've seen them, is getting a little bit hesitant.
Yeah, well, there's a quick reposition coming out from Henningsen, but walled out immediately, manages to sidestep around that, helps bring the Reaper into bear to try and start doing some of that damage. And we're going to see Denmark taking up the defensive position now. That's going to be the ice block out from Kassar Plays, now slightly more vulnerable. Shield looking very, very damaged. Fisher finally getting simple FNK, but Shax now has a beam onto the enemy Mei, who walls himself in. And Ryan Chu, once more with the Coalescence, might be able to turn this around. Kellick's able to get Beckenbauer down. Main tank down is not a great position to be in. And Scalar, with the better of those two Coalescences, is going to take Ryan Chu out of the fight. Shax now closing in on the ultimate. Not going to get a huge amount of more charge because there are no more Saudi players left on the team. Shax very nearly walked right into a headshot from simple FNK, who is closing in on another infra site.
Getting very close, my goodness. Well, the info site will allow them information, but it's not the offensive ults that they need. However, Kassar, on the other hand, does have that Blizzard coming up very soon, and I think Saudi is going to try to go for this aggressive play. You want to hold on to this choke, or they are going to let them push near to the point, win with the ultimates that they have, and start having that spawn advantage. Depends on how they want to play this.
Out comes the Gravitic Flux. That's going to be Kellex using the sound barrier to nullify any impact from that. I think they're really looking for Fisher to get a pick here. Hasn't quite found one yet. Looking now for a target with the Meteor Strike. No, instead just opting to get out of trouble. They knew that they were only at half health. And with that Blizzard now online, knew that they couldn't really afford to aggress in too heavily. Henningsen now with the Supercharger still online. A lot of that damage is just going straight into shields. Beautiful hold, but even better reactions out from KSA. They're able to mitigate a lot of that damage. Scalar with the Coalescence takes out the enemy Supercharger. Beckenbauer no longer has that at the disposal. Naga now with the Gravitic Flux might be enough to get this done. Boostio did not have the sound barrier online. The damage in over the top is looking good. Needs to get a few more of those hyperspheres into the distance. Kassar Plays is going to try and keep this alive as long as possible, but Scalar able to get 2 and 3. Scalar doing a huge amount to open these team fights for the Danish side.
Expensive pushes, but overall very effective. Saudi Arabia having to respond in kind, and unfortunately the ultimate with the Blizzard just kind of started spiraling out of control. Yes, it did slow aggression down for Denmark, but nobody was caught in it, so there was no results yielded from it, and that's going to be a little bit difficult. Simple, however, I mean, I guess they can find value.
Yeah. I mean, Simple FNK maybe not having quite the same fight-shaping potential as in the previous round that we saw, but certainly a threat to be considered. Well, in comes Fisher, not able to find a kill, but there's a lot of displacement. KSA only finding 1 with the Gravitic Flux, and that is going to be Fisher down. Naga, in the meantime, taken up by simple FNK, who is still looking for angles from away in the back line of fight. Still, 4 minutes, 30 seconds left to go for Denmark on this push, and they have got another Coalescence to open things up with.
Yeah, okay, so I'm looking at this, and so there's some hesitation going in my head, Phil, right now about, like, how Simple is able to find a lot of good tags with 100%, but I feel like I can't help but to think there would be some good use getting some shield break with the Reaper coming in here. I mean, you can only pop off as so much as the Widow, but, I mean, if they're able to slow down the aggression from Denmark, I'm just imagining Denmark at some point is going to snap and go in with this, but we'll see.
Man, Naga fell incredibly low there. Scalar had to really, like, hurry forward to get that going. Oh, and that's going to be the Coalescence out along that into the wall. Shax down already, and another Blizzard coming out from Kassar Plays means that Coalescence thrown in for nothing. Oh my god. The freeze in over the top of the hole. Man, that was 3 in the pit from that ultimate. Wow, and they used that to get quite a lot of charge. They've got the sound barrier. They've got so much to play with, Bemi.
They got so much to play with, but you know who also got a lot to play with? Time bank-wise for Denmark. They still have to go through a lot of hurdles right now. Again, Phil, the fight ain't over until it's over with Denmark. You're dealing with contenders and owl players here. Saudi can do a great job. I believe in them, but they gotta just start getting some good tags like that.
Well, that's gonna be an aggressive sound barrier out from Boostio, and it counters. Shax is Death Blossom. Only 1 out of Fisher's Meteor Strike, but it does get them into a position to start doing some additional damage. Oh, just managing to get Owen over the top of that health pack, but it's not quite enough. However, the rest of the Danes able to aggress in on the back of that. Naka has spotted exactly where simple FNK is going to be. Kellex in there to help out as well. This fight still dragging on out. Naga gets a bit of shielding out, and now we've got Kassar Players coming in on the Doomfist. We've got Doomfist, the Doomfist, in this fight to keep it going as long as possible. Will have the Supercharger here as well, and it looks like for now Saudi have managed to push Denmark off the payload.
They did, But oh my goodness, that's interesting switch. I hope they switch back over to the main. The ice walls would have been really good. Nice rock right there. They have information again, so this does slow down the aggression once more.
Yeah, and of course they knew exactly where Fisher was. He was able to dive behind that shield. Simple FNK flushed out of position by Shax, but Shax taken out by Boostio as well. Nice big fist onto Kasei to stun them out of it. Fisher able to get the melee kill onto Simple FNK as well. And now Kasar plays versus Fisher means 1 down, 2 down. Kellex finding Kasar plays there. Kellex again coming up big with the boop kill onto Beckenbauer. Naga finds Ryan Chu, and this might be where it starts to close in. 1 minute 41 seconds left to go. Boostio with the sound barrier, not able to cover the distance. Still, they burn a huge amount of time off that time bank in this final point.
They really did. They really did. I wonder why they thought the Doomfist was a good swap. I guess they really felt the pressure of needing to contest, but it was not that far away from being able to just come back from spawn and win this with the current comp that they had. The Ice Wall would have been fine enough to buy them some time, and I thought the Blizzard would help them actually a lot more. Then swap over to the Tracer just to contest, but honestly, that Saudi felt a little bit pressured, as I hate to say it, but they did. It felt like, you know, Denmark finally snapped, like I said, and they went in and just decided, hey, you know what? Let's not just get bullied. Let's just go ahead and bully the bulliers, and they did. And I have no other words to say except, like, you know, Saudi just needs to remember that fighting over until it's over. And, you know, if you know that there's a hero that's outplaying you, be careful and not try to just contest it with your own. There wasn't really a lot of value. They were just focused on the Doomfist. They were answering the Doomfist with the Doomfist, and I don't get that. So, you know, keep doing what you do in Saudi, and we'll see what happens. Seeing the Pharmacy potentially come out.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of like the DPS lineup now coming out from Saudi because there's not a lot, really, that can deal with these threats.
Yeah, 100%. And Simple, you know, again on this attack could work out, so I'm definitely going to get the first point right here.
Oh, those direct rockets onto Henningsen were absolutely huge. And so far, uncontested, up in the sky with a Mercy Pocket. Very hard to get rid of. You need a big rock and a lot of follow-up to get rid of them. And Simple FNK is going to get this wide open. Kellex now down. Sarplay is taking a bit of damage, but luckily, again, with a Mercy Pocket, very difficult to take them out of the sky. And closing in kind of rapidly now on getting that barrage, not quite able to find the kill. You know what, fine, make a liar of me, Simple FNK, see if I care. So this is looking great for Saudi team to take this point. And really, Denmark didn't get much ult value out of this. They're going to be in a real hole trying to stop them in the streets phase.
Coalescence could be a huge play here if they're able to use something out of it, but yeah, that's like making an inch into a mile, Phil.
Yeah.
Honestly, I gotta say, Pharmacy is the hero. It's the hero that everybody kind of overlooks to use. It's just such a good uncontested hero at the moment.
Why are Denmark still doing this? Why are they not contesting any of these DPS threats? Yes, Fisher is a very good Doomfist, but not good enough to take out Farah in the sky when all of this other stuff is going on. And Kasar plays will have a barrage ready to go. That's the sort of thing that really opens up these team fights. Coalescence comes out as well from Ryan Chu and from Scalar both, but really it is going to be Saudi coming out on top with that. And on top of that, they're going to be coming out of this with a Gravitic Flux as well. This is looking so sketchy out of Denmark.
KSAA, oh my gosh, they are pretty much ready to go with this. This is going to be amazing. Valkyrie won't be able to keep them alive for too much, but we'll see what they can do here. I think the other race is for Simple to get that Blizzard. That would be a lot of great stun. Shax is halfway to the Death Blossom. I think, you know, because of the time bank, they won't try to wait for the Gravitic Flux, or like the Gravitic Flux won't wait for the Death Blossom. We'll wait and see what happens.
Yeah, you've kind of got to throw something out as well. Speaking of Gravitic Fluxes, there is one out already, going out from Kasar. Naga falling very low, might not get the chance to use it, gets frozen, gets taken out. Kasar plays in the meantime, uncontested, on the high ground, able to rain in the rockets, and enable the rest of the team to get in and do the damage. Fisher finally gets the kill, but it's too little, too late. Too many Saudi players on the point.
And they got the res.
And they got the res like it never even happened. Shax finally making a swap over onto McCree, but Fisher has not yet had his ultimate on Doomfist. He's been shut down so hard here.
Yeah, I don't think actually the Meteor Strike's gonna find that much value, because look at that, the Barrage is ready, the Blizzard's almost ready. They can just drop the Blizzard the moment they hear the Meteor Strike, because the Meteor Strike is not gonna want to try to fight that.
Well, there's a Gravitic Flux. It hasn't dragged enough people off the point to trigger that automatic cooldown. Naga finds Ryanchu with the rock. Out comes the freeze from Simple FNK. Boostio down. KSA Kasapo with another barrage is going to be taken down by Kelix. Ryanchu gets brought back in by Boostio now on the Mercy. Fisher, this needs to be the biggest of all Meteor Strikes for it to do anything really. And instead, basically nothing. Knocked out of it. Finds Ryanchu, has to get out of it. We're going to see some changes coming up here, I think. Scalar moving now over onto the Ana. Boostio falling very low, able to Mercy jump out of the way. Henningsen, a one-man wall, trying to sort out this payload. Is it going to be enough in the face of all that damage? Well, he needs some help. Gravitic Flux out once again from KSAA. Gets the kill onto Henningsen. Not enough of a wall at all. And Naga separates it out, dodges the rock. Not a lot of shielding left, though. And now we've got Kelix and Shaq starting to get kills, starting to turn this around. But the res comes in on Kasapo is now going to be playing the Doomfist. Once they get the slide was on as well. Oh, Shaxx reset either into a hole or into a bomb. They didn't even catch what happened there. Boostio able to stay safe in the backline and give a lot of additional damage in. Henningsen now coming in on the ball, but gets stunned out, deleted immediately.
They're still pushing!
How is this even going on? This is the Never Say Die spirit that we are starting to come to expect out of this Saudi Arabian team. Shaxx is closing in on this ult, but it's not going to be quick enough. The barrier is good, it's aggressive, it allows them to get in and keep the contest going. Shaxx getting very close to having his ultimate once more, needs the biggest of all sticks to get this done. Fisher able to get the cleanup and the bomb onto the point, doesn't find Beckenbauer, but Beckenbauer is going to be the last alive on the point, with the exception of Boostio on the Mercy taken down. But this is almost all the way to the end of the map. You've got to pull out something pretty big to pull off a showing as good as what Saudi just showed us.
I love you, Phil. This is such a great series to cast with you. Oh my gosh.
Well, I don't know about the players, but I'm exhausted just from watching them play.
Heavy breathing right here.
Heavy breathing indeed.
Cheers. Take a swig with me.
Refreshing.
And you know what's also refreshing? To see, this amazing never say die attitude, like you said, from Saudi as well. That is so nice to see them just repaying the favor in kind of saying, you know what, Denmark, if you're going to be aggressive and not allow us any space, we're not going to allow you any space either. Pharmacy was such a great pick, and I agree with you that it was so strong, uncontested, and it boggles my mind that Denmark does not switch to a hit scan at all to address this. That was free real estate, hands down, for Saudi Arabia, and Saudi Arabia used it effectively.
And here's the thing, we know that Shaxx actually a pretty good Widowmaker. Like, you don't even have to get the kill, just put in the pressure just to help, make that pick less effective.
Would work enough. I don't know. I have no words, except here we go. We're going to see standard comp coming in from Saudi, but they have a lot of real estate to work with.
They really do. Well, Fisher once more on the Doomfist. I really think being super hard counted at the minute. It amazes me that he's still on it, but this is his opportunity to make sure it works. Now they all hold up in hotel, waiting for some abilities to come back. And that's going to be Fisher looking for a pick. Doesn't quite connect with the wall, so not going to get the kill. Instead, very nearly gets frozen out of it. One more punch. Again, it doesn't hit the wall. He's too far away to really be doing that. And the wraparound coming in from the side on that allows Shaxx to move in and start trying to pile his damage, but they are going to get frozen out. Yeah, and no kill came out of that, luckily being kept alive. Scalar already has that coalescence, manages to find Beckenbauer. Looks like we may also see a couple more kills coming out on the back of that. Shaxx and Fisher quietly starting to DPS. Scalar showing them how it's done, opening the door, and nothing out of that Meteor Strike. And it's going to get taken out by Kasapo as well. It is only Kasapo left on the point.
Look at Kasapo. We got 2% away from the Flux.
Yeah, and we've nearly got the Blizzard as well. We're not far off Simple FNK having a Death Blossom ready to go. He's certainly ahead of Shaxx in terms of charge.
It's the same story as Temple of Anubis, Phil. You dry push until you have all your ultimates, and then you just kind of take the win. 20 seconds remaining. You have to still go through Street Phase. They might even switch over to the pharmacy, but I think they want to keep on to the ults because literally this is going to be last team fight territory. You have all the ults ready for you. You have the Flux ready for the Death Blossom or the Blizzard, depending on your choice. Phil, this is looking good.
We've all seen the Fresh Nuts vids. If you Gravitic Flux everybody off the point in overtime, sadly, slightly missed time to allow that to happen. Does a lot of damage.
Pressures out the sound barrier.
Yeah, that's going to be a Blizzard in over the payload. Naga trying desperately to get out. Isn't going to make it. Henningsen down to the Blizzard. It's going to be Kelix and Scalar on the point. Coming in to a Death Blossom. Shax with the answering one.
Boop.
Too little, too late. Frozen, deleted. Overtime, ticking down, the walls up.
Game
That's
5!
gonna be Saudi taking us right to Game 5. I said it at the start, Bemi. We're gonna go to Game 5 in this. Who would not like to bet any money on the outcome of this match at this point?
We're going to Game 5, baby! Game 5! Woo! Oh my gosh.
Gonna be Ryan Chu getting play of the game here, and there have been so many high-value coalescences here that are we even gonna see the coalescence? We don't even need it. I think just. Oh, hang on, Ryan Q. That's not your play of the game, bud. You did a good job, but that was not your play of the game.
Oh my heart. I actually think, even though it's control point and Denmark is technically favored in the control point matchup, I think Saudi has studied enough the playstyle that they've realized that there's a large commitment to these heroes, and they are very neglecting on switching. So I think if they switch to heroes and DPSs that can work with addressing, this will be absolutely fine. They could deny Fisher everything that they need. This is Saudi's game to take. They're riding off momentum from winning this game very convincingly, and on top of that, you have Denmark being very neglecting of just pretty much the game itself.
So there's a lot of talk at the minute about the strength of Doomfist in the current meta that we have, because barriers don't care about Doomfist. He just goes whoop, sails right the way through. And so I feel like Denmark are currently owing a lot of their success to the fact that Fisher is genuinely an outstanding Doomfist player. But
they are.
But Saudi just have him completely figured out. He's not getting the value that he really needs to make that hero work. We've got to see something else coming out of this hero.
Yeah,
it has to happen.
And it can't be from Shax. Like you said, Shax has a good hero pool as well, but it really has to be from Fisher. This is like the Doomfist is great. Like I said, I am not okay. I want to say this real quick. Denmark is one of the most amazing teams I have seen from this, and I think honestly, once they go into the OWC, it's going to be absolutely amazing to see them. They could even get top 8, arguably. But seriously, with what we're going into with Saudi, you can't ignore this team at all. You cannot deny them their respect. They deserve the utmost respect. And if you are not going, if you're just not going to respect them, it's going to be absolutely crazy. We're going into Nepal now, so this I feel will be utilized by Saudi much more in Sanctum. It's going to be utilized more in Village because you can get the pharmacy off with the high skybox. Technically, Shrine is a little more favored for Saudi as well because, again, pharmacy is very favored in 2 of the 3 maps. So, all right, Denmark, you're in a great team. You better bring your A game, though, because Saudi is now knocking on your door.
Let's see some adaptation out of you guys, Denmark. You cannot keep leaning on Fisher's Doomfist because it just has not been working out for you in these past 2 maps.
I don't want to see carries. I want to see teamwork. That's what I want to see. So out of this, I'm expecting to see maybe still double shield, potentially the dive with the Wrecking Ball Diva more so than Winston. Winston just gets shut down by the Reaper a lot of times. Reaper and May are still the canonically still good heroes to come out of, but we still got to wait what comes out of Spawn, Phil. I am hyped.
Yeah, well, at least they know they don't have to worry about running into a May because, of course, Fisher is going to be running the Doomfist. But, you know, there's the Flashbang, there's the Halt, there's the Rock, there's just the general freezing and the boot. Everything in this comp shuts down to a greater or lesser extent a Doomfist. And they've got to wake up. He needs to either pop off to the 99.9th percentile of his ability to do so, or swap. And that is going to be them taking that early possession of the point, potentially. KSA being a little bit more staid and placid. Shax gets in around the side, has to back out because of the
punishing aggression.
Yeah. And this is going to be Fisher looking for a target. Doesn't actually find anything. Has to use the slam to get back in. Now got to wait a few seconds before they can be of any use in this fight. Again, looking for targets. They have taken first possession. These are blind dives coming in from Fisher. He's hoping for the best. And so far, of 3 punches into a mass of players, he's yet to find anything. And that's going to be an early coalescence out from Ryan Chu. Says a lot about where the damage is going. Shax gets the opener. Kasar plays is now down. Much easier for them to aggress in. Scalar will have the coalescence. They're all nice and grouped up into the middle of that ray of light. That's going to be one. Boostio taking a dive. Beckenbauer giving over some of that HP, taking it away from that ult charge. Scalar really cracked that map for them.
Really cracked the map. Didn't really feel like Saudi knew what they wanted to do. They really want to push in. They want to find this good opening that's just going to be minimalistic as possible. But it was a little too hesitant, and they were able to get the best of them. Even Fisher, even though they weren't finding results, were able to cause enough stress for them that they felt like they were really undecisive.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's going to be both rocks down. Gravitic Flux out from Naga wasn't enough. The wall there from the main might have been enough to actually stop any of the follow-up damage coming in. It did a lot of body damage, but no kills on the back of it. Fisher now has the Meteor Strike. Who's he looking for? Not going to find that Mei. She's got a nice block to hide in, buddy. And that's going to be a sound barrier and a Reaper fading out of existence. Naga falls as part of that. Fisher only able to displace people there. And the Supercharger down. Lots of damage being piled in, and Scalar has another coalescence here being used to keep the Reaper alive. Able to turn his attention now and deal a little bit more damage in, but with that Supercharger in effect, this is going to be a lot easier for the kills to come in. The Supercharger is down. Kasar plays, has a Blizzard, might be able to flick this here. Walls a lot of them out.
They want to hold on to it.
Yeah, want to be holding until the rest of the team gets back now. Freeze coming in. They may have just done enough here. That's the Blizzard, and we've got a Wrecking Ball on the point. Henningsen having swapped over, but coming into that Blizzard into a Mei is really a very difficult position. Looks like Saudi might be able to flip this over.
Wrecking Ball's still going, though. There's still a lot of this team on the point, Phil.
Yeah,
they got Ryan too.
Yeah, well, there's going to be the sound barrier. It's an aggressive one. The freeze coming there onto Naga. Simple FNK is held on to this Death Blossom. Gets rocked out of the way. Fisher going down. The minefield, in effect. Looks like Simple FNK takes a little bit of damage from it there. And at 99-0, really, maybe this is time for Denmark to give up the point and come back and try that again rather than give over too much more.
I think they already did. You have Kasar almost halfway to the Blizzard. You have Kasar pretty much ready for the Flux. There is already Coalescence ready to go. You have some ultimates, but I don't think they're going to find too much value. And we'll see how target prioritization goes for Denmark. I think with this hold on the point, I mean, Saudi could look pretty good here.
Yeah, well, Fisher coming in once more, looks for a blind target. A lot of damage coming in onto the Reaper. Nice use of the Hulk combo there to get in. Gets out of the way of the Reaper ult. Sadly, just lands in range of the Reaper. But that is going to be Denmark getting ready to cap the point. Actually, still contesting. Flipped over, just got to get rid of now the pesky Lucio, who wants desperately to keep this alive, is not going to be able to escape from the biotic grasp of the Moira, and that is going to be them down, unless the Moira can get back in. No, we've got a Wrecking Ball back in on the point to keep things alive. Henningsen able to take Brucio down as well. Fisher finds Beckenbauer. Naga coming in with the Gravitic Flux. The Sar plays, throws in the Blizzard, managing to find Henningsen, but nobody else left to keep that contest going. So this is exactly where the knife edge is. If Denmark win this next map, they win the series and move forward in the bracket.
Well, if it's Village, it's going to be... Oh, I think, honestly, these maps are still good. Sanctum comes into play. There's still a lot of possibilities for Saudi to come back to this, but yeah, Denmark looked very convincing there. Saudi needs to commit to a play. They felt so... it honestly felt like they felt vulnerable there, as they just kind of wanted to commit to plays, build up ultimates, and dry push, but you can only dry push so much on 3 CP, as that really just doesn't work too well, as it's based off percentage, not time. So now you have to just be very careful and just kind of commit to being aggressive. You either ride or die as a team. You got to commit to it, and you do it now.
Well, let's see if they can get us at least one more map on that. And they're going to be running. They're going to be running the mirror comp. Actually, sorry, no, not the mirror comp, because of course Fisher only knows how to play Doomfist. So no Mei here, but we've seen that he can pick that apart. Oh, nice move combo into the hole. Doesn't actually find a kill. That's unfortunate. It was such a nice set play. Oh, it does actually find Kasar plays. Henningsen finding Kasar plays is a good opener, but Simple FNK around the back, looking for healers, looking for tanks, finds the kill on Tanix and gets punched out of it, but luckily has a Moira there of their own to keep them alive in the fight. Gets the better of Shax as well. Finds the angle, Scaler down now. Rocked out of it and gets the kill onto Naga. Really a one-man wrecking machine. Simple FNK putting paid to that offensive push from Denmark.
Yeah, stops it all together. Really just nice flank around coming in from Simple. A simple flank, if you will, as they just went in and thank you. So as they simply just go in and be able to wipe this out, just not watching their sixes, like the same problem that Saudi had for a while is now coming into Denmark. But they do have a lot of ultimates coming in, and they have Scaler ready for the Coalescence.
Yeah, Fisher has the Meteor Strike once again. A nice attempt at getting that combo with the Holt. Luckily for Ryan Chu, was able to get out of the way of it. Kellex finds the boot kill onto Simple FNK. Fisher now looking for maybe a nice little combo there with the Holt. The Holt actually worked there to confound some of those abilities from the Doomfist. Kellex's kill onto Ryan Chu. Shax now looking for a kill onto Kasar Plays. Finds it and finds Boostio as well. Will be coming out of that with 73% of the ultimate. Whoa, takes a big amount of damage. Has to back out of that or put his team in a bit of a hole.
Dare I wonder if there is a world where you play Widowmaker here, as Sanctum tends... yeah, well, Simple has been able to play off, but there's no high ground advantages for this. I was just kind of playing and toying around with the idea. It's like, it could get them off guard if they're able to play into the back line, but I think honestly right now, they do have a lot of ultimates coming on. They're going to commit to this. They have the Blizzard ready to go. Supercharger ready. They have the percentage lead, so things are still looking good for Saudi, but, I mean, Denmark has a lot of stuff online right now.
Yeah, well, they're going to have the Coalescence ready to go, and we've seen those used continuously, very, very aggressively. And with the Supercharger online now for both teams, Kellex gets the opener, and that is now both Superchargers down. Kazabla is able to find Fisher. Ryan Chu still trying to find a couple of targets, able to use the Moira Fade to get back onto point. Gives a little bit of health to the rest of the team. Beckenbauer able to get a displacement kill onto Naga, and as we hit 51%, this is looking good for Saudi to flip this right the way back around.
Good news for Saudi as well. That was an expensive fight for both sides and not just them. So that means that the ult economy is still pretty even Steven right now, Phil, as they go into the next fight. Another thing to pay attention right now is Shax versus Simple. Who can get the bigger results and bigger flanks right here? Naga does technically have the flux capacitor, so they might be waiting for this. So, I mean, percentage-wise, still in favor for the side of Denmark, but let's see if they can find value in the ult.
Yeah, well, here's the combo. Gravitic Flux goes off. Time for Shax to get in underneath and start to take some damage. Shax goes in, taken out, unfortunately. Simple FNK able to get theirs just in time. Henningsen down. Scaler takes a dive. Naga knocked off the end by Kasar. This is not looking great for Denmark right now. 19% of the point left to go, and they wasted their Gravitic Flux.
They really did. This is unfortunate for them, but let's see. Last team fight territory, they still have the Death Blossom. Shax died before they could drop it, so this is a good opening for them. Kasar, however, has the Gravitic Flux if they really
might be able to stop the contest getting in. Well, in comes Fisher, now has the Meteor Strike. Abilities down and out, manages to avoid getting hit by that. Oh, wants to get the reposition instead of the kill, but they're already 2 down. Fisher almost has time. Shax's able to get 2. This is a big step up, although we do lose Scaler, the main healer, going down. Nowhere to throw that fist, I'm afraid. Fisher still looking to get that done. Boostio now has the sound barrier. It's going to be very hard for anyone to actually get anything done through that. Boostio able to get Kellex now, and that's a dive, a boop off the edge from Shax. We lose Simple. He gets the reposition. Points. Exactly. Fisher now back in, takes a lot of damage. Naga now coming back in on the D, wants that speed to get back to point as quickly as they can. Sar plays, takes a lot of damage, throws in the Blizzard. Going to be very hard to get in around that. Objective secured. Oh, we are down to the wire on this game, folks. This is down to one map. We're going to Nepal Village. And whoever can take this one final map, it all comes down to this, is going to move forward into the semifinals tomorrow.
Okay. I would really love to see... Yeah, no pressure, right? I would really love to see a pharmacy. I think this would be the best thing in the world for Saudi, as they could just simply destroy this. However, there's a lot of good flanks for Fisher and a lot of good cover for Fisher potentially going around. It just depends on how long it takes them to flank. Because much like in the Wave of Sombra looking for initial hack, if you take too long to flank, you're going to leave your team in a 5v6. So let's see how this works out.
We're going for, it looks like we're getting maybe a high ground approach from both teams here, just looking at those. No, low ground approach coming in from...
They're setting straight to point. They're setting for defense.
Yeah, well, that's a great position to be in, but Fisher is up top. He's going to look for a pick here. Preferably would like a healer. Reduce their ability to keep their team alive, if at all possible. Oh, beautiful play out from Boozy.
Oh my goodness!
That was a real 9,000 IQ play there. Of course, Fisher still in with a chance to come back in and do that again. Nothing out of the rock there. And that's going to be Saudi taking the first control of the point. As we see Fisher wrap around, looking for he'll quite get the damage in onto Simple, who is now up in the mix once more. Fisher looking to get in and do some damage. Can't quite find any of these kills. He's on a continual loop, looking for targets. Scaler now has the coalescence. Has to use it to keep them alive, but the wall keeps a lot of that damage out. And it has allowed Denmark to aggress into the point. Fisher gets the opening kill. Kassar plays, goes down now. Keeping on this circuit, keeps coming back to Scaler for a bit of health. Shax and Calyx able to get a double there. Scaler certainly lending their force to this, and Denmark have managed to flip this over.
Scaler just winning the race in coalescence every time is just kind of absolutely absurd. It really does say how much, like, yes, Kassar can drop a ice wall, but it only buys you X amount of time through that. Ult advantage is technically now in favor for the side of Denmark. They can do a lot. They have 36% though, so there is some time for them to pressure out ults. They've been doing a good job with that at the moment.
Yeah, but they've got a couple of good combos as well. Particularly, they've got the Gravitic Flux, and they've got that Death Blossom as well. And in a really enclosed space, if they invite Saudi into the point and then use those ults, then that's a really good place to put that damage to good use. Of course, Kassar has one of their own, lifts a lot in. Luckily, that is going to be the sound barrier there for both teams. Naga able to get one kill on the back of that, and a second with a rock to the back of the head. Henningsen getting in on that Orisa on Orisa violence. The tank's doing so much to clean things up for Denmark as we hit the 50% mark.
Astounding stuff from Denmark, really just being aggressive and committing to these plays. However, they use a lot of their ults expensively now. Here comes Saudi's turn, their window of opportunity to flip back this point. They're just heading straight for mid, and they have this information right now, Denmark. They're ready to go.
Oh, Brucia takes a lot of damage and goes down. Fisher able to burst right through that. Fisher getting a double. We spoke a lot about how we were maybe a little bit disappointed with some of this Doomfist play. But he's certainly making it work now. A team kill. I mean, with a little bit of help of a self-destruct there from Simple, but you know, you take these.
Yeah, you take what you get. I honestly feel like a pharmacy would be such a good swap over here. Last team fight territory, though, it's a little too late for this kind of stuff. So now we're going to go into this. You have the ult advantage now, Saudi. Even more so. Can you complete it?
Well, out comes the supercharge. That's going to be item number 1 on the checklist. And KSA and Kassar players get a quick double. Fisher maybe not quite able to equalize. Naga taken down by Beckenbauer. In comes Fisher. Has the Meteor Strike. Finds one. Gets Kassar. Can they get a second out of it? Unfortunately not. That is going to be the point flip back around. Bemi, we may see this go to 99.99.
Usually that's the way this kind of stuff goes, Phil. Nothing's ever relaxing in this game. So we'll see how it works out. They do technically, however, now the ultimate advantage is going to lead this into 99.99. However, I think Denmark is trying to be careful how they push out here. They don't want to feed too much.
No, and of course, they're coming into a couple of ults. They've got the Gravitic Flux out for Naga. Looks like it maybe didn't get the value they would have liked it to. Ryan Chu is going to fall, but Simple there with the Death Blossom to equalize. Fisher takes them out. So this is currently up for Denmark. Fisher able to get one, and Kassar not getting a huge amount of value out of that Gravitic Flux. And it looks like Denmark are going to flip this over. And as the overtime wick ticks down, there's no contest going to come back in, and it went down to the wire, but it is going to be Denmark taking the win over Saudi Arabia and moving forwards in the tournament. But boy, what a set of games out of these two teams.
That was truly one of my favorite series ever to cast in my entire life. That was truly a definitive match of really just individual talent versus teamwork. I mean, honestly, Fisher going in by themselves with a lot of follow-up kills. It was just kind of like one after the other. If somebody didn't get the kill, they would have somebody follow up on it. Yeah, there was teamwork from Denmark, really good stuff, but holy smokes, really just props to Saudi Arabia for trying to go in with these ideas. And I did see the fire come out last minute from Simple, thinking that it could work. And I feel like if they did that earlier, we might have seen that 99 versus 99. But wow, what a great series, and really just I don't want to criticize this series overall. I just want to embrace it. I just want to enjoy it. It was a really good series.
I think at this point, anybody that really wants to pick apart exactly what happened and why who won, you're welcome to go back and look at the VODs. I think for myself and Bemi, the fact that it went to 5 games and it went to the 3rd map on Control shows just how evenly matched these teams were. And it's at this level of Overwatch that we really start to see things like, pixel differences in playstyle and ability placements and cooldowns and ultimate uses that really sort of eke this sort of stuff out. And I'm sure if you've got the right sort of mind, it's a wonderful thing to geek out about. For now, I think I just want to say that was incredibly played by both of those teams.
Yeah, it was absolutely beautiful, and I really got to say that it events like these show that anybody from anywhere can really just come up and mess with the big dogs anytime. Denmark was nothing to laugh at or scoff at. The fact that they brought it to last map game 5 is huge, especially when you have people like Kelix in there. And there's just really nothing left to say, Phil, except this was a beautiful match, and I'm so happy I got to cast this with you.
Right back at you. But one thing I will say is that as well as turning up to watch these teams play, if you really want to support them, if you want to help improve their chances of getting to BlizzCon, then we've got a couple of things you can do. Firstly, there is a Match Arena page where you can go and donate to the overall prize pool. We'd be very appreciative of that. And if you'd rather have something to show for your efforts, then of course, we have a very extensive merch store where you can go in and buy both Monkey Bubble branded merch that goes to support the teams and, in fact, the team's own merch themselves. And all of that goes to a various degree to help these teams get to BlizzCon. And really, every little helps for some of these teams. We've got teams that are this close to meeting their funding goal to getting to BlizzCon. But one more thing that we have for you today is we are going to be speaking to the coach from Team Denmark, so the coach of our victors just now. We're going to be speaking to Carve. So, Cave, thank you very much for joining us. Congrats on the win. How are you feeling on the back of that?
Hello, thank you. We are very glad we won. It was a very close match.
It looked like very hard work. It looked like Saudi were really making you fight for every inch of map control.
Yeah, they were definitely making us sweat. Some of the players were really performing well, like Simple FNK. He was performing really, really well, especially on maps like King's Row.
Oh yeah. We noticed that ourselves. It felt to me like I'm not in a position to criticize because you guys are all substantially better players than I am. It felt like Fisher spent a lot of time on the Doomfist, where maybe something range, something more hit scan would have been more appropriate for dealing with Simple FNK, for example, over on the Widowmaker. What is the strategic reason you have for keeping Fisher on the Doomfist for that entire time?
Well, we'd like our playstyle or identity to be kind of the same on every map. So we would like, since we have not that much time for this Eurocup, we've practiced like only a few comps. So switching to and from a lot of different comps is not good, in my opinion.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense.
Familiarity over matchup. That makes sense. Yeah. Comfort in what you play sometimes will work to your strengths. I think also a lot of the time, I want to ask this. So who is making these shot calls? Because you guys go in very aggressively as well. Mm-hmm. It's a very aggressive comp that you have going on here. So it's a lot going on at once. Who's sort of your IGL or captain going into this? I'm really curious because it seems like a lot of like follow up kills, if you will. Like Doomfist will do a lot of damage, and then you'll have Shaq's follow up, or then vice versa. And it seems like really good coordination. So I'm curious about that.
Yeah, our most vocal players are definitely Kelix and Fisher. Kelix takes the lead in like a team captain sort of way, calls pushes and engages, and Fisher calls plans, and when he wants to go in, and that's the time we usually go for.
Yeah, it makes sense to have Fisher like the tip of the spear, really leading some of those charges. So one of the things that I think it's difficult not to notice is that you have kind of a stacked team in terms of contenders presence and Overwatch League presence. How much do you think that having players of that caliber and the experience that they have, how much of that is feeding back into the rest of the team who maybe don't have that experience?
I think it helps a lot. Like some of our players have a lot of experience, like you say, like Kelix and Checks, and some of our players are like pretty new to the scene, like Henningsen, and also Molf, who just recently got into contenders like a
Mm.
few seasons ago. And I think it's definitely helping the team, both them improving and or older veteran players improving by getting a new look on the game.
It's interesting. One other thing I think we ought to ask is, now that you're to the semi-finals, who do you look at in the rest of this tournament as being your biggest challenge? Like who are you most worried about? If you're worried about anybody, who are you most worried about
I have a
fighting
feeling.
next?
I think after today, we're pretty worried about every team.
That's a very respectful answer.
That's a very honest answer.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, well, thank you very much for your time, Gabe. Is there anything you'd like to plug before we say goodbye?
I'd like if everyone could go to our Twitter, Team Denmark Twitter, Overwatch Team Denmark, and follow. That's where we'll be posting all our information about matches and tournaments and player updates.
Fantastic. And I think if you search for Team Denmark Overwatch, I'm sure that's probably the first, if not only, hit that comes up on Twitter. But once again, Gabe, thank you very much for coming to talk to.
Congratulations.
Yeah,
Thank
and
you for having
congratulations on
me.
the win. Really well deserved.
Thank you.
But that is, I'm afraid, all that we've got time for today. So I'd like to thank my co-caster, Bebby, for casting with me, and, of course,
Thank you,
our
Phil.
wonderful observers and producers. So First Night of Knee and Pinglo Minglo over in the background, making sure that everything is working properly for us. And, I have just been informed, actually, I was about to sign off. I've been told that Boostio would like to do an interview. So why not? Let's get Boostio in here if he wants to talk. I'll be happy to talk to him.
I'd be happy to talk to them as well.
Yeah.
I would be very curious as to like learning about what their combos are with the Orisa and also just some of the others, because there was a lot of interesting boop combinations. I'm curious as like where the idea came from a halt boop that like in Sanctum.
Yeah,
almost got like
it
an
looks
entire
like
portrait.
we are having a little bit of difficulty tracking down Boostio, despite the fact that he said he would like to play. Give us a minute to try and figure out where he is. I mean, if he doesn't show up in the next few seconds, I think we might have to put pay to that, and maybe I'll organize a separate interview with Boostio later in the tournament. I think I'm just getting an update from the producer now. I think if we're at the point where we're putting out a general call to find Boostio, I think we maybe ought to draw a line out under that and go back to saying thank you very much, everybody, for tuning in today. I hope you've had as much fun watching these games as we've had casting them. And don't forget that.
Oh, he's here.
He's here, everybody. There we go. So we've got Boostio coming in from Team Saudi Arabia. Boostio, we thought you weren't going to turn up. How are you feeling on the back of that match?
I'm actually feeling so great. I didn't actually think we would like have a chance against Denmark, because Denmark is a very good team and they have very good players like Fischer and Henningsen.
But yeah, you really made them work for it, and the fact that it went to the final map on map 5 shows exactly how strong Saudi Arabia is. And I think the fact that you've made it so far in the tournament without a lot of the Overwatch League and contenders experience that everybody else has, what is it about you guys as players lacking that experience that means you can compete at this level?
I mean, lacking experience is nothing. If you have a goal, you just go for it. Like we always want to go for a win. Yes, it's basically scrum mentality.
Yeah, I want that on a t-shirt. That's so inspiring. That's great. So, Bemi had a question in specific about a mechanic that we saw you utilize on that final map. So, Bemi, why don't you take that one?
Yeah, it's just a quick question about like first of all, loved your plays, Boostio. Really
Thank
amazing
you.
job as a healer. I was curious as about how a lot of your boop combos came into fruition. Like I saw us back at Sanctum, you went for a halt boop, did the wall ride on the point, and then you almost got all of them. Where are these? A lot of these executions that you guys do are just also all of a sudden, like going on the Widowmaker on King's Row, and then also this, like, who's coming up with these ideas to make things very unorthodox, if you will?
I mean, every time that we go into scrim, we just talk about it so we can play like in our strength, you know.
Mhm.
Simple is a very good head scan, like insane head scan on Widowmaker and McCree.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was basically clicking heads.
Oh.
So we just play around our players. Yes, we have like we have good combos with me and Myrissa. Like in scrims, we always go for those boop combos, and it works great. But on Sanctum, didn't work because they were so close from the edge.
Yeah, it was like a couple of pixels more, and they would.
Yeah, we did it once on Illy as well, though.
Yeah, I think we must have missed that one, but yeah, definitely caught that on Paul Sanctum. So, yeah.
Oh, was that the one on Well? Just out of
Yeah.
curiosity? Oh, okay, it was the 3K.
That 3 boop man. Yeah.
Obviously, this is as far as you're going to go in this tournament. I wondered, do you know how close the Saudi Arabian team are to getting to BlizzCon this year?
I mean, we're gonna be there for sure.
Oh, great!
It is confirmed.
Glad to hear that. Yeah, that's great. Always happy to see. I always feel Saudi Arabia and the entire Middle East is a region in Overwatch competitive that we don't see a lot of you guys. Like, you know, we see KSA in contenders, and Bemi had another suggestion of somebody that I missed. Who else do we see?
Awkward.
So, you know, it's not a region that gets a lot of press. So it's great that we get to see you guys actually on that stage at BlizzCon. Are you guys individually now looking to use some of that experience to get more Overwatch League or contenders experience? Is that what you're looking for out of this?
I mean, hopefully, it is baby steps. Like, yes, we're missing a lot of experience, but I think Saudi Arabia has a lot of potential into like going into Overwatch League if we keep playing like that.
I 100% agree, and I feel like just Middle East in general. Just out of curiosity, speaking of just like how strong Saudi Arabia and the Middle East is a strong region as a whole. Do you have any teams that you maybe want to shout out along with as well? Teams that we should watch out for the next Open Division coming up.
I mean, no one knows when is OD, so I don't think there's any teams. Maybe I'm making my own one. Maybe.
Oh. Okay, I'll definitely need to follow your Twitter just to see how that goes.
Yeah, I'm a fully back.
Great. Well, Boosty, thank you so much for jumping in for this interview with us. We didn't know you were going to do that, so a nice little surprise at the end of the evening. Before you go, is there anything that you'd like to plug?
Basically nothing. Thank you for the support for everyone.
It's been great to have you, and hopefully this isn't the last that we see of you in competitions like this. Thank you very much, Boostio. So I'll try again for the third time to say thank you very much, everybody, for watching. I hope you've had as much fun as we have. Don't forget that, of course, this is not the end of the tournament. We still have the semifinals and, of course, the grand finals.
Oh, yes.
Ready to go. And if today's games have been any indicator, they are going to be some spicy games. So please tune in for the rest of the tournament. But from myself, Bemi, Pinglo, all the players, First Night of Knee, who's of course producing all of the players of today's games, and the rest of Monkey Bubble, thank you very much and good night.